Imagine waking up one day to find that someone you love has vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and a gaping hole in your life. This is the grim reality faced by families of victims in cold cases, cases that linger in the shadows, unresolved and haunting. In this episode, we explore the insane ways cases were solved, where darkness intertwines with the relentless pursuit of truth. As we unravel the stories of these four chilling cases, we will witness how unexpected evidence can turn the tide in investigations that seemed hopeless. Join us as we confront the unsettling truths hidden within these narratives, where human nature reveals its darkest corners and justice hangs in the balance. Prepare for a journey into mystery and horror, where every detail could lead us closer to understanding the unimaginable. But before we dive in, some of the details in this story are disturbing and may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is strongly advised. As always, remember to hit the like button, share the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date with the channel. Alright, let's dive into the video. Janet Abaroa was a vibrant 25-year-old mother living in Durham, North Carolina, with her husband, Raven Abaroa, and their 6-month-old son, Caden. Janet was known for her warm personality and dedication to her family. However, beneath the surface of their seemingly normal life lay a turbulent marriage marked by financial strain and infidelity. Raven had recently admitted to cheating on Janet, leading to a temporary separation. Despite these challenges, Janet discovered she was pregnant with their second child, prompting Raven to return home in an attempt to mend their fractured relationship. As the couple navigated their troubled marriage, the atmosphere in their home grew increasingly tense. Friends and family began to notice signs of discord, but no one could have predicted the tragic turn of events that would soon unfold. On the night of April 26, 2005, Janet was brutally murdered in her own home. Her death would not only shatter the lives of those who loved her, but also ignite a complex investigation that would reveal dark secrets and challenge the very notion of justice. The scene that greeted police upon their arrival at the Abaroa home was horrifying. Raven Abaroa called 911 around 10 p.m., claiming he had just returned from playing soccer to find his wife lying lifeless in an upstairs office. Yet, when authorities arrived, they quickly discovered that Janet had not been shot. She had been stabbed multiple times. The crime scene was chaotic, blood splattered across the room and evidence of a struggle evident in the disarray. However, investigators noted something peculiar. There were no signs of forced entry into the home, and valuables remained untouched. This raised immediate suspicions about Raven's account of a home invasion. As detectives began their investigation, they were struck by the emotional impact of Janet's murder on the community. Friends described her as a loving mother who dedicated herself to her family. The shock of such a violent act occurring in their neighborhood left residents feeling vulnerable and afraid. As news of the murder spread, it became clear that this case would not only require unraveling a web of lies, but also confronting the deep-seated fears within a community grappling with loss. In the days following Janet Abaroa's murder, investigators faced numerous challenges as they sought to piece together the events leading up to her death. Initially, Raven Abaroa was considered a person of interest due to inconsistencies in his statements and his behavior during interviews with police. However, as time passed without significant evidence pointing directly at him or any other suspects, public interest began to wane. Detectives struggled with a lack of physical evidence at the crime scene. Despite collecting samples and interviewing friends and family members, leads were scarce. The absence of forced entry suggested that if this was indeed a murder committed by an intruder, it would be nearly impossible to trace them without any identifiable evidence. As months turned into years without an arrest, frustration mounted among investigators and Janet's family alike. The case grew cold, overshadowed by other pressing investigations within the department. Yet one detective remained determined to find justice for Janet, a relentless pursuit that would eventually lead to shocking revelations about her husband's true nature and passed. Nearly 5 years after Janet's murder, a breakthrough finally emerged when Detective Soule took over the case. His instincts led him to scrutinize every detail from the crime scene photos again. One detail stood out. Janet's contact lens case was found open on the bathroom counter, a sign that she may have been preparing for bed when she was attacked. This detail prompted Detective Soule to exhume Janet's body for further examination. The results were shocking. Forensic analysis revealed that she had indeed died with her contact lenses still in her eyes, a fact that contradicted Raven's timeline of events surrounding her murder. Additionally, investigators discovered a bloody shoe print at the scene that matched Raven's shoes, a pivotal piece of evidence linking him directly to the crime. With this newfound evidence in hand, authorities arrested Raven Abaroa on February 1, 2010, charging him with first-degree murder. The long-awaited arrest reignited hope for justice within Janet's family and community as they prepared for what would become a highly publicized trial. The trial against Raven Abaroa began in 2013 amidst intense media scrutiny and public interest. Prosecutors painted him as a controlling husband whose lies unraveled under pressure. Despite strong circumstantial evidence against him, the first trial ended in a hung jury. Ultimately, weeks before his retrial was set to begin in 2014, Abaroa entered an Alford plea for voluntary manslaughter, acknowledging that prosecutors had enough evidence to convict him while maintaining his innocence. He received a sentence of 10 years and 1 month but was released on Christmas Day 2017 after serving just shy of 8 years in prison.
This is a map of Greater Los Angeles, 50 miles across, 2,500 square miles in all. Now, if someone goes missing in this sprawling city, even a highly organized search can't guarantee to find them. Etta Smith claimed no special psychic powers, no history of clairvoyance, but she succeeded where the whole of the Los Angeles Police Department failed.
Etta Louise Smith was a 39-year-old mother living in Los Angeles, California, during the tumultuous 1980s. Known for her caring nature and strong family values, Etta was a devoted parent to her 2 children. In a decade marked by social change and cultural upheaval, she navigated the complexities of single motherhood while working as a waitress to support her family. Etta's life took a dramatic turn shortly before Christmas in 1980, when she became embroiled in a tragic event that would forever alter her family's trajectory. On December 19, 1980, news broke about the disappearance of Melanie Uribe, a local nurse who vanished on her way to work. Etta, who had no prior connection to Uribe, experienced a sudden and vivid vision that compelled her to act. Convinced she knew where Uribe's body could be found, Etta approached the police with her unusual claim. Despite the skepticism surrounding her psychic abilities, Etta felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility to help find Uribe. This would ultimately lead her down a dark path filled with suspicion and turmoil, as her intentions were misinterpreted and her life became intertwined with a murder investigation that would shake the community. On December 21, 1980, just 2 days after Melanie Uribe's disappearance, Etta Louise Smith decided to take matters into her own hands. Driven by an inexplicable urge following her vision, she gathered her 2 young children and a niece and drove out to Lopez Canyon, an area about 25 miles from Los Angeles that she believed held the key to finding Uribe. Upon arriving at the remote canyon, Etta's 7-year-old daughter made a chilling discovery: a white heap partially covered by brush. As they approached, it became clear that this was not just any pile of debris. It was the lifeless body of Melanie Uribe, brutally robbed and beaten to death. Etta immediately reported her discovery to the authorities, believing she had done the right thing. However, instead of being hailed as a hero for locating the body, she found herself thrust into a nightmare of suspicion. Police quickly turned their focus on Etta, questioning how she could have known where to find Uribe's body if she wasn't involved in the crime herself. The initial assumptions about Etta's involvement cast a dark shadow over her intentions and led to an arrest that would change everything. Following the discovery of Melanie Uribe's body, investigators began scrutinizing Etta Louise Smith's actions with increasing intensity. Despite her insistence that she had merely followed a vision to locate the victim, detectives viewed her as a prime suspect in what they believed could be an elaborate cover-up for murder. Eda's boyfriend at the time provided an alibi for her during the critical hours surrounding Uribe's death. However, inconsistencies in his statements raised eyebrows among investigators. The police were determined to uncover any connection between Eda and the crime scene, but found little evidence linking her to Uribe or any motive for murder. As days turned into weeks without any solid leads pointing toward Eda's guilt or innocence, public interest in the case began to grow. Family members of both women expressed their suspicions about Eda's involvement, while also voicing their concerns over how quickly law enforcement had turned against her, despite no concrete evidence. The pressure mounted as Eda underwent lengthy interrogations. Detectives believed that if they kept her in custody long enough, she would crack under pressure and confess to something that would justify their suspicions. However, throughout it all, Eda maintained her innocence and insisted that she had only wanted to help find Uribe's killer. As investigators continued to dig deeper into Eda's life and relationships, they stumbled upon crucial evidence that would shift the focus of their investigation entirely. Letters written by Eda herself, detailing her fears and concerns about local crime and violence. In these letters, Eda expressed anxiety about being in public places alone, and mentioned feeling threatened by unknown individuals in her neighborhood. This documentation provided insight into Eda's state of mind, leading up to Melanie Uribe's murder, and painted a picture of a woman who was genuinely concerned for her safety and that of others. These letters became pivotal during the investigation, as they were presented in court during subsequent proceedings against law enforcement for false arrest. They served not only as evidence of Eda's character, but also highlighted how easily someone could be misjudged based on circumstantial evidence alone. Ultimately, this key evidence influenced public perception during the trial and helped sway opinions regarding whether Eda was indeed involved in any wrongdoing or simply an unfortunate victim caught up in a tragic series of events beyond her control. After spending 4 harrowing days in jail on suspicion of murder, Eda Louise Smith was released when detectives failed to establish any concrete evidence linking her to Melanie Uribe's death. She later successfully sued the Los Angeles Police Department for false arrest and received compensation for her ordeal. Despite being cleared of any wrongdoing in this tragic case, Eda's experience left lasting scars on both herself and those around her.
Kind and caring with a big heart. That's how David Guy was described by his younger sister. Last year, parts of his body were found on Southsea Beach.
David Guy was a 33-year-old man living in Southsea, Hampshire, known for his friendly demeanor and love for his pet cat, Tinker. A devoted animal lover, David often spent his time caring for Tinker and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. However, beneath this seemingly normal exterior lay a troubled past, marked by personal struggles and financial difficulties. In July 2012, David disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Friends and family grew increasingly concerned when he failed to show up for work and stopped responding to messages. The last confirmed sighting of David was at a local pub, where he had been seen socializing with acquaintances. As days turned into weeks without any sign of him, the community began to fear the worst. The search for David intensified when authorities discovered a dismembered torso wrapped in a curtain on Southsea Beach. The gruesome discovery sent shockwaves through the area, prompting an urgent investigation into the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. Little did investigators know that the key to solving this horrific crime would come from an unexpected source: cat DNA. On July 13, 2012, beachgoers stumbled upon a gruesome sight while walking along Southsea Beach: a dismembered torso wrapped in a curtain. The discovery sent ripples of horror through the community as police were called to the scene to investigate this shocking find. Initial forensic examinations revealed that the body belonged to David Guy, who had been reported missing just days earlier. As investigators combed through the area for additional evidence, they faced numerous challenges. The condition of the remains made it difficult to determine how long David had been deceased or the circumstances surrounding his death. With no immediate leads or suspects, detectives were left grappling with a chilling mystery that seemed to deepen with every passing hour. Initial investigations focused on David's personal life and relationships, but they yielded little information. Friends described him as sociable, but noted that he had recently been dealing with financial troubles and personal issues that could have led him into dangerous situations. As the investigation progressed, authorities began to explore every possible avenue, hoping that a breakthrough would soon emerge from the shadows. As the investigation into David Guy's murder continued to stall, forensic scientists began exploring innovative techniques that could yield new clues. One such method involved analyzing cat hairs found on the curtain that had wrapped around David's remains. This marked a significant turning point in forensic science, utilizing pet DNA as evidence in homicide cases. The hairs were sent to California for mitochondrial DNA analysis, which is passed down maternally and can be used to trace genetic connections between animals. Investigators discovered that these cat hairs matched those of Tinker, David Hilder's pet cat. This revelation provided a critical link between Hilder and the crime scene. To strengthen their case further, authorities collaborated with geneticists to create a database of cat DNA samples from across the UK. They tested 152 cats and found only 3 with mitochondrial DNA matches to the hairs found on David's remains, one of which belonged to Hilder's cat. This groundbreaking forensic evidence not only established a connection between Hilder and the crime, but also showcased how pet DNA could revolutionize future investigations. The implications of this discovery were profound. It demonstrated that even seemingly trivial evidence could play a pivotal role in solving heinous crimes. With compelling forensic evidence linking David Hilder to the crime scene, authorities moved swiftly to make an arrest. On February 1, 2013, Hilder was taken into custody and charged with manslaughter in connection with David Guy's death. The prosecution presented a case built on both circumstantial evidence and strong forensic links. During the trial proceedings at Winchester Crown Court, prosecutors painted Hilder as a man whose violent tendencies had culminated in murder. Witnesses testified about Hilder's aggressive behavior towards others and his history of conflict with David Guy. The defense argued that while there was compelling evidence tying Hilder to the crime scene through cat DNA, there was insufficient proof regarding his direct involvement in Guy's death. Despite these arguments, jurors were swayed by the overwhelming evidence presented against him, including the cat hair match and testimonies from those who knew both men. In March 2014, Hilder was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to life in prison. The case garnered significant media attention due to its unique reliance on pet DNA as key evidence, a precedent-setting moment in forensic science. The conviction of David Hilder marked a significant milestone in criminal justice, showcasing how innovative forensic techniques can lead to justice even in complex cases. His reliance on cat DNA not only solved David Guy's murder, but also opened doors for future investigations involving animal genetics. Patricia Starlings was a vibrant young woman living in the small town of Hesperia, California, in 1994. At just 24 years old, she was known for her infectious smile and caring nature. Patricia was a devoted mother to her 2 children, balancing the demands of parenthood with her aspirations for a better life. However, beneath the surface of her seemingly idyllic life lay the challenges of a struggling single mother, navigating the complexities of relationships and societal expectations. In the early 1990s, the world was witnessing significant changes. Economic uncertainty and shifting social norms created an environment of tension and fear. This backdrop would play a crucial role in shaping Patricia's fate. On the night of her disappearance, Patricia had plans to attend a local party with friends, but she never arrived. Her family reported her missing the following day when she failed to return home. The community rallied to search for Patricia, but as days turned into weeks without any leads, hope began to fade. The initial investigation yielded few clues, and authorities were left grappling with a case that seemed destined to remain unsolved. Little did they know that advances in forensic technology would soon breathe new life into this cold case. Patricia Starlings vanished on a warm summer evening in June 1994, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and shattered hopes. After telling her family she would be attending a gathering with friends, she was last seen leaving her home. As night fell and Patricia failed to return, her family grew increasingly concerned. They reported her missing the next day, triggering an immediate search effort. Initial investigations focused on Patricia's social circle and potential acquaintances who might have seen her that night. Friends described her as someone who enjoyed life, but also faced challenges as a single mother. However, leads quickly dwindled as investigators struggled to find any concrete evidence regarding her whereabouts. The search efforts included canvassing neighborhoods, distributing flyers, and conducting interviews with friends and family. Despite their best efforts, authorities found no trace of Patricia. The case soon grew cold as investigators faced mounting pressure from the community and media for answers. As months passed without any significant developments, hope began to fade for Patricia's family, who were left grappling with the painful reality that their loved one might never be found. As the years passed without resolution in Patricia Starling's case, advancements in forensic technology began to revolutionize crime-solving methods across the country. In the early 2000s, DNA analysis became increasingly sophisticated, allowing law enforcement agencies to revisit cold cases with renewed vigor. In 2010, detectives assigned to Patricia's case decided to re-examine old evidence collected during the initial investigation. They discovered several items that had been overlooked or improperly analyzed at the time. Most notably, clothing worn by Patricia on the night of her disappearance. This clothing was sent to a forensic lab for DNA testing using new techniques that had emerged since 1994. The results were groundbreaking. DNA profiles obtained from traces of blood found on Patricia's clothing matched that of an unidentified male suspect who had been previously linked to other unsolved crimes in the area. This revelation reignited interest in Patricia's case and prompted investigators to dig deeper into potential connections between this suspect and her disappearance. The evolution of forensic science not only provided critical evidence, but also highlighted how advancements could lead to justice for victims whose cases had long been forgotten. With new leads emerging from this analysis, detectives felt a renewed sense of purpose as they sought answers for Patricia's family. With fresh DNA evidence linking an unidentified male suspect to Patricia Starling's case, investigators worked tirelessly to uncover more about this individual. They cross-referenced DNA databases and discovered that the suspect had a history of violent crimes against women, a chilling connection that raised alarms about his potential involvement in Patricia's disappearance. In early 2012, detectives located the suspect living in another state under an alias after he had been released from prison on unrelated charges. They conducted surveillance and gathered additional evidence before making an arrest. The suspect was charged with kidnapping and murder, based on the compelling DNA evidence linking him to both Patricia's clothing and other unsolved cases involving similar circumstances. As news of the arrest broke, it sent shockwaves through both the community and Patricia's family. After nearly 2 decades of uncertainty and heartache, they finally felt hope that justice might be within reach. The renewed investigation not only brought closure, but also emphasized the importance of utilizing modern forensic techniques in solving cold cases that had once seemed impossible to crack. The arrest of Patricia Starling's suspected killer marked a significant turning point in a case that had haunted her family for nearly 2 decades. As trial proceedings began in 2013, prosecutors presented compelling evidence linking him to both Patricia's disappearance and other violent crimes against women. Ultimately convicted based on DNA evidence and witness testimonies, he received a lengthy prison sentence for his role in Patricia's tragic fate. As we reflect on the harrowing stories of Janet Abaroa, Etta Louise Smith, David Hilder, and Patricia Starlings, several key themes emerge that underscore the complexities of human nature and the pursuit of justice. Each case reveals the dark undercurrents of life that can lead to tragedy, betrayal, violence, and the haunting specter of unresolved grief. Janet Abaroa's story illustrates how personal relationships can spiral into chaos, leading to devastating outcomes. Her tragic murder not only shattered her family, but also highlighted the importance of revisiting evidence and ensuring that justice prevails, even years later. Etta Louise Smith's case serves as a stark reminder of how quickly suspicion can fall on those who seek to help. Her experience underscores the need for careful investigation and the dangers of jumping to conclusions based on circumstantial evidence. David Hilder's case introduces a unique twist in forensic science, demonstrating how even seemingly insignificant details, like cat hair, can become pivotal in solving a murder. This case emphasizes the evolving nature of crime-solving techniques and how advancements in technology can provide answers long after the initial investigation has stalled. Finally, Patricia Starling's story showcases the resilience of families who refuse to give up hope. The reopening of her cold case due to advancements in forensic technology offers a powerful testament to the importance of perseverance in seeking justice for those who have been wronged. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then check out these videos on the screen now. If you have a topic suggestion, please send it to the email in the description. And as always, remember to like, comment, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. And remember, the only thing scarier than these stories is missing out on our next video.